So let's just clean this mess up. So make a little game out of it, you know?
Mama's Family looked harmless. A small town, a grumpy old woman, jokes that felt safe. But behind that couch, those walls, and that laugh track, the show was anything but simple. These are 20 secrets Mama's Family hid for decades. Number 20. Mama was never supposed to survive. Past sketch comedy.
When you're right, you're right. Horrible.
Boy, I tell you, that traffic coming over from your mother's was bumper to bumper all the way from the west.
Mama Harper was never built for longevity. She was created as a pressure release valve on The Carol Burnett Show, a character who burst in, insulted everyone, and vanished before the bitterness could linger. Vicki Lawrence and Carol Burnett designed Mama to work in short doses, where exaggeration did the heavy lifting and consequences didn't matter. When network executives decided to spin Mama into her own sitcom in 1983, even the people closest to the character were skeptical. Mama wasn't warm, she wasn't aspirational, she didn't grow. Weekly sitcoms demanded emotional arcs, lessons learned, and characters audiences could root for. Mama offered none of that. Early scripts struggled to stretch her cruelty into full episodes without diluting her edge. Writers softened her dialogue. Networks demanded sentiment. The result was a show unsure of what it wanted to be. Mama's Family didn't fail because the character was weak. It failed because she was too strong for the format she was forced into. Ironically, that mismatch would later become the very reason the show survived. Mama wasn't broken. Television just hadn't caught up to her yet. Number 19. Vicki Lawrence was younger than most of her children.
Last year?
Yeah, did you read that? I was reading up after you told me that.
Yep, I died. That was announced on Wikipedia.
The greatest trick Mama's Family ever pulled wasn't a joke. It was age. When the show premiered, Vicki Lawrence was in her early 30s, younger than Ken Berry, and only a few years older than the actors playing her adult children. The illusion required hours of prosthetic makeup, a heavy gray wig, posture training, and a deliberately stiff, painful walk. Lawrence didn't just play old. She carried age in her spine, her breath, and her voice. The performance was physically brutal. Long shooting days left her exhausted and sore, sometimes unable to fully straighten up once the cameras stopped rolling. Yet audiences never questioned it. Viewers wrote letters addressing her as if she were genuinely elderly. Children believed Mama was ancient. The deception worked so well, it erased the actress beneath it. Lawrence later admitted that playing Mama trapped her physically and emotionally, forcing her to suppress her own youth for the sake of the character. Mama didn't age naturally. She was constructed daily, piece by piece, until the illusion became permanent in the public imagination. Number 18. The original series was canceled without a goodbye.
Oh, wake up, baby. It's time to rise and shine.
I ain't gonna fit in with these kids even if I spike my hair and get orthopedic Reeboks.
And when Mama hits the books.
Mama's Family didn't end its original run with closure. It vanished. After 2 seasons on NBC, the network quietly canceled the show without fanfare, announcements, or a proper finale. Cast members weren't celebrated. Writers weren't thanked. The story simply stopped. Executives didn't hate the show, but they didn't understand it either. It wasn't sweet enough to be family television, and it wasn't sharp enough for edgy comedy. Worse, Mama herself was considered unlikable by network standards. The cancellation felt final. Then something strange happened. Reruns began airing in syndication, and audiences responded differently. Without network expectations, viewers embraced Mama's cruelty as honesty rather than hostility. Ratings soared. Mama's Family became a daily ritual in homes across America. The show didn't just survive cancellation, it thrived because of it. The version people remember exists only because the first version failed. Number 17. Syndication turned Mama into a monster on purpose.
Oh, nice. Come on, Vicky. We got to rehearse this thing.
Oh, Mama.
When Mama's Family returned in syndication, it wasn't revived, it was redesigned. Freed from network oversight, writers stripped away sentimentality and leaned fully into insult comedy. Mama became louder, meaner, and more relentless. Emotional lessons disappeared, apologies vanished, episodes moved faster, jokes hit harder, and characters existed solely to collide. This wasn't accidental. Producers realized audiences didn't want Mama redeemed. They wanted her unleashed. Syndication allowed sharper dialogue, darker humor, and fewer restrictions on cruelty. Mama's Family finally matched its character instead of fighting her. The result was the definitive version of the show. Most fans don't remember the NBC seasons at all. They remember the resurrected Mama, the one who ruled her house with sarcasm and scorn. Cancellation didn't kill Mama. It gave her permission to be herself. Number 16. Rue McClanahan walked away and changed television history.
He held that ring up for all the kids.
Daddy held it up for me more.
Lord, Eunice, I don't think this is a time to
Genius.
just...
Oh.
You know what I said to him when I spoke to him on the phone the first time? I said,
Rue McClanahan's Eunice was volatile, insecure, and perpetually humiliated. She screamed, she begged, she lost, and McClanahan hated every minute of it. She felt Eunice represented emotional stagnation, a woman trapped in misery with no dignity or escape. When Mama's Family ended its original run, McClanahan refused to return for the revival. It wasn't a scheduling issue, it was self-preservation. That decision freed her for the Golden Girls, where she reinvented herself as Blanche Devereaux, a character defined by confidence, sexuality, and control. Had McClanahan stayed, Blanche might never have existed. Eunice would have consumed her career. Walking away from Mama's Family wasn't a rejection of success. It was a refusal to be buried alive by it. Number 15. The Harper house was a pressure cooker disguised as comfort.
Well, Eunice, these jars ain't clean. You couldn't get a go.
Mama, here he is.
Mama's living room felt familiar, even cozy, but the set itself was brutally tight. The Harper house was one of the most cramped standing sets in 80s television, with walls positioned just inches from cameras, lighting rigs, and crew. Actors had to hit precise marks or risk bumping into equipment mid-scene. The staircase didn't fully function. Several doors opened to nothing. The kitchen barely allowed 2 people to stand inside it. That claustrophobia wasn't accidental. Producers wanted the house to feel inescapable, a physical manifestation of Mama's emotional control. Nobody could leave a room without passing through her gravity. The tight space amplified confrontations, forcing characters to collide rather than retreat. Arguments escalated faster, insults landed harder. There was nowhere to hide. The illusion of space came entirely from camera angles and lighting tricks, creating a home that felt larger than it truly was. Viewers never noticed the confinement, but the cast felt it constantly. The Harper house wasn't just a set, it was a trap, and that tension bled directly into the performances. Number 14. Ken Berry became the show's emotional shock absorber.
Oh, wake up, baby. It's time to rise and shine.
How about a nice kiss?
When Mama's Family returned in syndication, Ken Berry's presence quietly saved it. Berry's Vinton wasn't sharp. He wasn't dominant. He was gentle, awkward, and emotionally transparent. Everything Mama wasn't. That contrast mattered. Without Vinton, Mama's cruelty risked becoming exhausting rather than funny. Berry absorbed insults without bitterness, turning verbal abuse into physical comedy and self-deprecation. His timing softened scenes that could have curdled into discomfort. Producers later admitted they underestimated how essential Berry would become. He wasn't just comic relief, he was structural support. Vinton gave the audience permission to laugh at Mama without feeling complicit in cruelty. He made her survivable. When Mama exploded, Vinton grounded the blast. Without him, the revival might have collapsed under its own meanness. Ken Berry didn't overpower the show. He stabilized it, and that balance allowed Mama to remain ruthless without driving viewers away. Number 13. Raytown was never meant to make sense.
Right day here at the Raytown Travel Agency. May I help you?
It was sort of set in some kind of a time warp. You don't know if you can put your...
Raytown felt real, but it was deliberately undefined. Writers avoided assigning it a specific state, timeline, or geography. Accents shifted. Regional references contradicted each other. Continuity was optional. Raytown wasn't a place. It was an emotional ecosystem. It represented stagnation, resentment, and routine. The kind of town where people stayed not because they wanted to, but because leaving felt impossible. Mama wasn't trapped by location. She was trapped by identity. By keeping Raytown abstract, the show allowed audiences everywhere to project their own hometown frustrations onto it. That flexibility made the humor universal. Raytown belonged to everyone who'd ever felt stuck. Logical consistency didn't matter, because emotional truth did. Mama's Family didn't ask viewers to believe in geography. It asked them to recognize themselves. Number 12. Mama was softened against her will.
Put it right in there. There you go. Now.
Mama, you said you'd save it for me. You said you would.
I didn't.
You did.
During the original network run, executives repeatedly pushed writers to make Mama kinder. They wanted lessons learned, reconciliations, moments of growth. Mama resisted all of it. The character wasn't designed to evolve. She was designed to expose hypocrisy, resentment, and emotional fatigue. When Mama apologized, it felt false. When she softened, it felt wrong. Those early compromises weakened the show's identity and confused audiences. In syndication, those restrictions disappeared. Mama stopped learning lessons. Episodes ended without moral closure. Insults landed without apology. And the show finally worked. Viewers didn't want Mama redeemed. They wanted her to be honest. Her refusal to grow wasn't a flaw. That was the point. Mama wasn't there to inspire. She was there to reveal. Number 11. Mama's Family became bigger.
For all I care, they can always work in one more lunatic. Moron.
After television moved on, by the time Mama's Family ended, television had changed. Sitcoms were slicker, younger, and more polished. Mama didn't fit anymore, but in reruns, she thrived. Local stations aired the show endlessly because it was cheap, durable, and instantly understandable. Generations who never saw it during its original run grew up with Mama anyway. She became background noise, comfort viewing, and cultural memory all at once. Mama's Family didn't survive by adapting. It survived by refusing to. In an industry obsessed with reinvention, Mama stayed frozen in her bitterness, and audiences kept coming back. Longevity didn't come from relevance, it came from recognition. Number 10. Carol Burnett stepped away. On purpose.
Good to me.
I'm 16 years older than Vicky, and she became my mama.
Watch
So
Mama's
let's just clean this mess up. So made a little game out of it, you know?
Mama Harper may have been born on the Carol Burnett show, but Carol Burnett intentionally distanced herself once Mama's Family became a full sitcom. This wasn't bitterness or a falling out. It was restraint. Burnett understood something the networks didn't. Mama worked best as a controlled explosion, not a weekly obligation. On her variety show, Mama appeared briefly, wreaked emotional havoc, and disappeared before the cruelty lingered. Stretching that energy across full episodes risked turning satire into discomfort. Burnett believed that making Mama the emotional center of a series would fundamentally change the character, forcing her into lessons, apologies, and growth that didn't fit. So, Burnett stayed silent. She didn't interfere creatively. She didn't promote the show heavily. She let Vicki Lawrence take full ownership. That decision protected both of them. Burnett preserved the legacy of her original sketches, while Lawrence was free to reshape Mama into something harsher and more enduring. Most viewers assume Burnett had abandoned the character. In reality, she trusted it enough to step away. Mama's Family didn't lose its creator. It was released by her. Number 9. The writers were fighting. 2 different shows.
More time than you're usually allotted. And so that was a little...
So let's just clean this mess up. So made a little game out of it, you know?
Mama's family never had a unified writer's room, especially during its early years. Half the staff believed the show should be emotionally grounded, focusing on family dysfunction with moments of warmth. The other half believed Mama was a weapon, not a mother, and should be allowed to wound without consequence. Scripts became battlegrounds. Emotional scenes were written, then stripped out. Jokes were softened, then sharpened again during rehearsals. Vicki Lawrence often became the final authority, vetoing lines that felt false to Mama's voice. The tension created a tonal whiplash that confused early audiences, but ultimately forged the show's identity. When syndication removed its network oversight, the argument ended. The insult writers won. Mama's family stopped pretending to be heartfelt and embraced confrontation as its engine. That clarity didn't come from harmony, it came from exhaustion. The show didn't evolve naturally, it fought itself into submission. Number 8. The laugh track was carefully engineered.
Travel agency, may I help you?
Mama's family used a live studio audience, but what viewers heard wasn't always what happened in the room. Mama's insults were sharp, sometimes uncomfortably so, and when jokes landed too hard, the audience reaction could stall or fracture. Producers compensated aggressively in post-production. Laughter was layered, extended, repositioned, or softened to maintain rhythm. This wasn't about deception, it was about survival. Without that cushion, Mama's cruelty risked feeling mean instead of funny. Sound engineers shaped reactions to guide viewers emotionally, signaling when to laugh and when to relax. The laugh track became a character, mediating between Mama and the audience. It reassured viewers that what they were hearing was safe, even when it wasn't. Comedy isn't just timing, it's permission. And Mama's family engineered that permission meticulously. Number 7. Vicki Lawrence rewrote lines on the fly.
I told you I'm saving them for our guests. And turn off that TV.
Vicki Lawrence wasn't just acting as Mama, she was co-piloting the show in real time. Scripts arrived, often edited by multiple writers with conflicting visions, leaving Mama's voice inconsistent. Lawrence, understanding the delicate balance between comedy and cruelty, rewrote lines during rehearsals, sometimes right on set. Some of her edits were subtle. Changing a single word from stupid to ridiculous could transform a jab into a punchline that landed with the right rhythm. Other rewrites were extensive, adding entire mini monologues that weren't in the original script, giving Mama room to dominate the scene. This on-the-fly creativity kept the character sharp, dangerous, and unpredictable. Directors sometimes bristled because Lawrence's changes disrupted blocking or timing, but the audience didn't notice. They only saw Mama's razor wit. Over 11 seasons, these rewrites became legendary behind the scenes. Crew members noted that episodes with heavy improvisation were often the funniest in syndication, even if they were the most chaotic during filming. Lawrence essentially became a co-writer, shaping Mama's personality and ensuring the show never softened in ways that could undermine the character's signature edge. The ability to rewrite in real time gave Mama the voice that audiences remember, blending sarcasm, authority, and underlying affection into one unforgettable persona. Number 6. The set was smaller than it appeared.
We hungry tonight. You see, Thelma, what eager eaters you get when you have a little...
Eunice, you're acting as though the King of England was dropping in.
Well, it just so happens I have...
The Harper family home looked expansive on television, but in reality, the set was a studio miracle of forced perspective. Designers had to work with a budget that wouldn't cover a full 2-story house, so walls were angled, hallways shortened, and furniture strategically placed to create the illusion of a sprawling southern home. Even the staircase was partially fake, and only the lower 3 steps existed, with camera angles completing the illusion. Crew members recall bumping into hidden walls or ducking behind fake door frames when moving equipment. Windows were painted backdrops, often replaced with stock footage of generic leafy neighborhoods, giving the impression of a quiet, expansive suburb without the production cost of location shoots. This meticulous design allowed wide shots to appear natural, making the Harper's world feel lived in, real, and cluttered in all the right ways. The set became a character in itself, Mama's kitchen was always in the foreground for maximum comedic leverage. The living room hosted confrontations, and the front porch gave an outside world that was never really there. This optical trickery ensured the family seemed larger than life, while the production saved money and maintained control. It also added to the show's charm. The audience never realized the intimacy and clever engineering behind every scene, which made Mama's world feel both massive and tightly knit at once. Number 5, Mama's laugh, was part character, part genius. Improvisation.
I'd never seen one of the sketches. In fact, I got a hold of them from my...
Vicki Lawrence's iconic cackle wasn't just a rehearsed bit. It evolved organically, shaped by both character and instinct. Early in the first season, directors struggled to convey Mama's sharp sarcasm without making her seem mean-spirited. Lawrence experimented with timing, pitch, and volume, discovering that a sudden, exaggerated laugh could punctuate a jab in a way words alone never could. But here's the secret most fans never knew. She often improvised the laugh entirely in response to other actors. When Ken Berry, Dorothy Lyman, or Gail Strickland delivered lines that Lawrence felt were too polite or underplayed, she would throw in a spontaneous cackle, sometimes at 3 different volumes within the same scene. Crew members quickly learned to roll cameras whenever she started laughing, because those moments often turned into comedic gold, capturing genuine reactions from the other actors. On several occasions, the laugh was so unexpected that co-stars broke character, leading to entire takes that became legendary for their authenticity. Lawrence credited her mother for inspiring the laugh. It was a combination of amusement, disbelief, and authority, reflecting how Southern matriarchs often express exasperation while still commanding respect. Over time, the laugh became a storytelling tool in itself. It signaled Mama's dominance in a room, her disapproval, or the punchline to a verbal battle, often before she even spoke a full word. Writers began leaving gaps in scripts, knowing Lawrence could fill them with a laugh that carried the timing, emotion, and bite that dialogue sometimes couldn't. Even fans noticed its effects subconsciously. Mama's laugh made every insult hit harder, every victory sweeter, and every defeat more comical. Behind the scenes, cast members would mimic the cackle during breaks, creating a running gag off camera, but Lawrence always stayed in control, never letting it dilute the character's sharp edge. Decades later, that laugh is instantly recognizable, a signature that defines Mama's family as much as the set, the writing, or the other characters. It became an auditory emblem of Mama's personality, audacious, unfiltered, and impossibly alive. The genius of it was that it wasn't planned. It evolved, adapted, and thrived just like Mama herself. Without that laugh, the character would have been memorable, sure, but not indelibly etched in pop culture as the razor-tongued, unstoppable force audiences still adore. Lawrence didn't just play Mama, she created an instrument of comedy whose resonance extends decades beyond the studio. Bars a hope. Number 4. The show's origin story is stranger than fiction.
So let's just clean this mess up. Don't make a little game out of it, you know?
Most people think Mama's family simply spun off from the Carol Burnett show, but the truth is far more tangled. Before the sitcom even existed, Mama, played by Vicki Lawrence, was part of a recurring sketch called The Family on the Carol Burnett Show. Audiences loved the sketch, especially Mama's scolding humor and sharp wit. But NBC executives initially didn't believe it could sustain a weekly half-hour format. The sketch ran only a few minutes per episode, and translating that brief comedic energy into a full-fledged sitcom was a gamble. Vicki Lawrence herself has admitted that she initially resisted the idea, worried that Mama's exaggerated Southern persona might not survive beyond the sketch format. But producers pushed forward, convinced that a family of misfits anchored by a domineering matriarch could capture a broader audience. The real kicker, the original concept involved Mama living in a penthouse apartment, a completely different environment than the suburban home audiences eventually knew. Writers even experimented with changing her first name to Thelma before deciding that Mama itself was iconic enough to carry the show. That early uncertainty meant the pilot had multiple endings, different family dynamics, and even alternate actors considered for key roles. In the end, Vicki Lawrence's insistence on authenticity, the exaggerated southern drawl, the piercing eyes, the physical comedy, defined the series before scripts were finalized. What made this backstory especially wild is that the show almost never existed in the form fans remember. The version that became beloved was the result of last-minute script rewrites, casting negotiations, and Lawrence refusing to compromise on Mama's essential sharpness. Without that insistence, audiences might have gotten a watered-down comedy instead of the scathing, chaotic, hilarious family saga that aired for 6 seasons. Number 3. The set was a character. In itself.
All day.
Well, it's more than I can say. This morning I had to go trips over there for their night.
You might think a sitcom set is just a backdrop, but in Mama's family, the house was as much a character as Mama herself. The Henderson residence was designed with meticulous detail, down to the slightly crooked picture frames, the mismatched furniture, and the endless piles of knickknacks. Designers intentionally cluttered the space to reflect the chaotic, overstuffed life of a Southern family that is never quite modernized. Every piece of decor served a purpose. The furniture indicated history, the wallpaper hinted at outdated tastes, and the props often became tools in the comedy. For instance, chairs were deliberately positioned to allow physical comedy trips, falls, and exaggerated gestures were choreographed around them. Crew members also cleverly hid cues within the set. A misplaced vase or a conspicuously empty plate often became an impromptu punchline when actors noticed it mid-scene. Vicki Lawrence and co-stars admitted that the physical space influenced performances heavily. They would sometimes play the house, interacting with the environment as though it were alive, which added layers of humor beyond the script. One of the most famous examples was the kitchen table, a prop that became central to countless verbal and physical sparring matches. Its creaky legs would betray characters at just the right comedic moment, creating authentic reactions that were never scripted. Even the exterior shots of the Henderson house carried significance. The suburban facades suggested normalcy, a contrast to the absurdity within. Directors loved this duality because it gave every scene depth. The audience saw a seemingly ordinary home, but chaos reigned inside. Over 6 seasons, the set evolved subtly, reflecting the passage of time in the Henderson household. The chaotic energy never left. Many fans don't realize how much the physical space shaped the humor. The clutter, the furniture, and even the lighting became tools in storytelling. Without that fully realized environment, Mama's sharp tongue and the family's antics might have landed as one-dimensional here. They thrived because the house itself demanded performance, timing, and a touch of improvisation from every actor. Number 2. Ken Berry. Almost didn't return for the sitcom.
You did! What if I did? I was crazy with grief.
It's time to tie the knot.
Uh-oh.
All right, everybody, we are ready to begin. The varieties.
Fans of Mama's family know Ken Berry as Vincent Harper, the mild-mannered husband with a constant air of bewilderment. But many don't realize that Berry's participation in the series nearly didn't happen. When the show transitioned from the original Carol Burnett show sketches to a full-fledged sitcom, Berry was hesitant to commit. At the time, he had been focusing on other projects, including a variety series pilot and theater work. He reportedly worried that the family dynamic might pigeonhole him into the hapless husband trope, which was a sharp departure from his previous roles that balanced charm and physical comedy. Producers spent months negotiating with him, often adjusting scripts to make his character more central and nuanced. One major sticking point was the character's wardrobe. Berry wanted Vinton's style to feel authentic to a Southern man, not just a generic sitcom husband. Designers created a mix of button-up shirts, suspenders, and slightly rumpled pants, giving him a signature look that subtly communicated both innocence and exasperation. Once Berry finally agreed, writers still faced the challenge of integrating him into a household dominated by Mama's explosive personality. Early rehearsals reportedly involved long debates over scene pacing, physical comedy cues, and dialogue timing to ensure Berry could hold his own against Lawrence's towering presence. The gamble paid off. Vinton became the heart of the family, offering a stabilizing counterbalance to Mama's chaos. And Barry's understated comedic timing allowed viewers to root for him while laughing at his misadventures. Without his eventual commitment, the family dynamic we know today, a mix of exasperation, humor, and warmth, might have shifted entirely, and the show's appeal could have been much narrower. Number 1. Mama's Family almost had a completely different ending.
That's just what she is. Here it is for what it's worth.
The final secret is perhaps the most astonishing. The show's ending was nearly rewritten multiple times, and the version that aired was far from the first plan. Original scripts for the final season had envisioned the Henderson family facing a major upheaval, a move, a financial crisis, and even potential reconciliation arcs that would have fundamentally changed the tone of the series. Vicki Lawrence, however, was adamant that Mama's sharp humor and unflinching personality remain intact. Producers considered a softer resolution, including more sentimental moments that clashed with the show's signature sarcasm. But test audiences reportedly reacted negatively, finding it too saccharine. Instead, the writers opted for a subtler approach, leaving loose ends intentionally unresolved, and ensuring that the family's eccentricities stayed front and center. One interesting detail involves Mama herself. Early scripts had her contemplating retirement, suggesting she might leave the household permanently, a scenario that would have drastically altered her role. Lawrence fought passionately for a finale that preserved Mama exactly as audiences had come to know, and love her firmly planted at the head of the household, sharp-tongued, unapologetic, and very much in control. Rather than softening her edge or pushing the character into sentimentality, the creative team made a deliberate choice to let Mama remain the undisputed matriarch to the very end. Her biting one-liners, perfectly timed insults, and razor-sharp comebacks were not scaled back for the finale. If anything, they were elevated, serving as a reminder of why she had remained such a commanding presence throughout the series. Every exchange reinforced her authority, wit, and refusal to be sidelined, even as the show prepared to say goodbye. The visual language of the final episodes reflected this same intention. The closing shots were anything but incidental. The camera frequently lingered on Mama's expressions, allowing viewers to fully absorb her reactions, her knowing looks, and her unmistakable dominance within the Henderson household. These moments subtly emphasized her dual role as both the comic engine of the series and its moral center. Even when chaos erupted around her as it always did, Mama remained the axis on which everything turned, grounding the madness with her uniquely blunt sense of truth. Behind the scenes, props and set pieces were treated with almost reverential care. Longtime viewers would instantly recognize signature elements, like the kitchen table where countless arguments, confessions, and insults had unfolded, or Mama's favorite chair, which had become a symbol of her authority and comfort. These familiar objects were meticulously staged to preserve continuity and emotional resonance, ensuring the finale felt like a natural extension of the show's world, rather than a forced conclusion. Instead of offering a neat, overly polished happily ever after, the production leaned into something far more honest, familiarity and perfection, and lived in chaos. The final aired episode struck a careful balance between humor, character growth, and nostalgia. While there was a sense of closure, nothing felt wrapped up too tightly. The Henderson household was left just as it always had been, loud, unpredictable, dysfunctional, and unmistakably alive. That choice honored the spirit of the series, reminding fans that Mama's Family was never about tidy resolutions, but about enduring personalities colliding in endlessly entertaining ways. In the end, this approach cemented Mama's Family as a timeless comedy. The eccentricities of the characters remained intact. The humor stayed sharp, and the unpredictability that defined the show never faded. Viewers were not given a farewell designed to make them cry. Instead, they were given something far more fitting, an ending that felt authentic, witty, and deeply true to the essence of Mama herself. It was a goodbye that trusted the audience to appreciate restraint, character consistency, and the power of letting a legend remain exactly who she was. And there you have it, 20 secrets of Mama's Family that managed to stay hidden for decades. From behind-the-scenes drama and surprising casting choices to shocking near changes in storylines that could have altered the show forever. It is clear that this series was far more than just laughs and insults. It was a masterclass in character work, comedic timing, and unapologetic Southern charm. If you loved uncovering these hidden details, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into classic TV shows. Do not forget to ring the bell so you never miss another behind-the-scenes secret. And now, it is your turn to share your favorite mama moment in the comments below.